Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to a review that I had been waiting for an extended period of time to do because I ordered it off Sephora and it took an eternity to actually ship and make it to me. But we have it now, we are here, we are gonna get this review on, and that is of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina Pro Pigment Palette Volume 4. I have reviews of the 1, 2, and 3. If you haven't seen that shiz, I will leave it linked down below. Also, if you would like to see me use this palette in action, you'd like to see a little bit more of a wearable look using this, I did do a face of like first impressions testing new products. I will leave that down below as well. But this bad boy right here, this shit is gonna run you hair. It's gonna be $60 and it is, I believe, marked as limited edition, although like I said probably in other reviews, Anastasia is like, you know, Norvina is their like brand within a brand, so I am questioning sort of the whole like, y'all creating a new subset brand, but all your products are limited edition. The 1, 2, and 3 were limited edition, but they've been hanging around for a while, so you probably got some time to purchase this. Yeah, open it up, and this bad boy looking like this. I believe Norvina said on Instagram, Twitter, I don't know, some sort of social media platform, that this is like the pinkier, purpley, rosy like extension of the Soft Glam palette, which y'all know is one of my end-all be-all holy grail palettes. So any kind of palette claiming that it's an extension or in conjunction with the Soft Glam, I was like, I'm kind of gonna have to review that shiz. It is what I am wearing on my ethereal witchy peepers today. Pretty simple. I went into C4 right here, then we dipped into, which one was it? C5 right here, and then we finished deeping that shiz up with E4, A2 all up in here, and then a little bit of A1 up in that inner corner. I'm also wearing the Lunar Beauty Moon Prism blush palette, which is the shiznit. So looking at this, a couple of y'all may be like, girl, that ain't your shiz. You know, it's like pinky, neutrally nudie, you know, it kind of does skew, smack a little bit of Soft Glam going on. I also think it also has a little bit of Norvina palette, the original undertones. Like I said, y'all know I do love the 1, 2, and 3, so you hear banging, I believe some sort of renovating is happening in the upper level. So I'm not being robbed, it's just your day-to-day life. It does have 2 pressed glitters like here. I will say one of the mini Norvina palettes has a pressed glitter in that, which I'm actually not completely offended by, but thank God it's only 2. Love the matte to shimmer ratio, all that jazz, but enough talking. Let's just get to swatching. For the first time in forever, I'm swatching a product and not wearing long sleeves. I actually thought about this before getting dressed. So I'm learning, I'm progressing. We're just gonna go whoop, 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 whoop. I hope I have enough arm space. We will certainly find out. So I'm gonna start here with A1, A2, which I think are pretty similar. If y'all got the Bloodlust palette from Jeffree Star, that like really shimmy, shiny, diamondy whatever shades is apparently a new formula by him. These shades remind me a lot of that shiz. And then A3, which is a beautiful pinky. I mean, ooh, it's like my lipstick. Watch these right here. I will say, we got these right here. But I will say these 2 shimmery whatevers on the top there, they are a little like glittery. They do pack a beautiful punch, but for you to like kind of not have to deal without that like glitter fallout, you may want to do a tacky base, a tacky primer, a glitter glue or something, just to kind of eliminate the issue of dealing with glitter fallout. Other than that, they are really pretty. I mean, that top one just all kinds of reflective. Next up is a 4, which is a beautiful brown. Y'all know I've actually been getting into a neutral kick recently, which is weird for me. And I love how I say I've been getting into a neutral kick lately, like I'm not wearing like purple and pink on my eyes, on my face today. That was A5, and then here is B1. When it comes to the shimmers, there seems to be kind of like varying finishes, where some are kind of more of a classic shimmer like that. You've got ones that have a bit more glitter, other ones that have like a bit more sparkle or more metallic or foiled. I am a blithering idiot and did not record myself from top to bottom those last 3, B2, B3, and B4. I was stating how much I really like the mattes in this, and I was also commenting, I was like, you know, I've been hitting, you know, more of a neutral or whatever, and finding it funny that, well, you know, I say neutral like that top shade there isn't just straight up red. Next up is B5 right here, just straight up brown. C1, which is a really pretty kind of like pearlescent fairy tale pink, and then C2, which is just straight up Barbie pink. Here we have these ones here. I mean, that Barbie pink is so pretty. And then that bad boy right there. One thing I love about these mattes is how smooth and beautiful they are. I noted in my the video where I used it that how pigmented they were, and they just really blended very, very well. Like it was almost an effortless blend. It was very airbrushed, very beautiful. It was just an easy time all around. Then C3, which is this kind of purple, which I feel like with any kind, let me just show you this so we can talk about it. So I'm gonna put it on the top right here. This kind of purple I have tried from a myriad of brands. I believe I've tried it from Kat Von D, I've tried it from Morphe, I've tried it from Too Faced, I'm trying it from Anastasia now, and it's one of those purples that for some reason, or at least the ones that I've tried, they end up being more work than they're worth. Like you look at that, you're like, that's gonna be so pretty, but you have to have so much buildup. You really got to have something underneath it to make it pop. You ain't just going to sweep your brush in that once and get that kind of opacity on your face or your eyes or whatever, or wherever you're putting that shiz. I've tried, there was one from Makeup Forever. I don't know what it is about this kind of purple shade, but it's just like so hard pressed in that pan. For some reason, it's just super difficult to get that nasty nice payoff. Then C4, which is a beautiful, beautiful, y'all know I live for a purple. We got C5 and then D1, which is super smooth. And it's kind of like yellowy orangey, but brown. If I can get this all up here in frame for you guys, we're probably gonna have to move to the other arm. And that swatch there does not do justice to this shade, how it shows up on the eyes. It's what I started with, and it's really this beautiful, like deep, moody purple. Like if y'all are familiar with the purple liquid lipstick from Anastasia Beverly Hills, it's like the eyeshadow version of that. Then D2, which is a nice kind of like lime green yellow. D3, kind of just your average brown bronzy shimmer. And D4, which unfortunately is the same type of formula as this purple one that I was whining about a little bit ago. If I could get this here. Like the pink shade is real pretty, but compared to what you have in the pan, it's just not as cha-cha, not as intense as I might like to have a shimmer. You know, if they'd taken this color and that purple one and they'd done it in this formula up here, I'd have been sitting pretty. It's not that it's bad, it's just a little bit more hard pressed, a little bit more difficult to work with, and something that I'd want to be maybe a little bit smoother, more buttery. Carrying on, we have D5 right here, which is absolutely stunning. E1, which is as equally beautiful. And then the first glitter, E2, which is kind of like this like, yeah, whatever that is. Here we have it right there. I mean, those top two shades are like butter. And I will say, out of the majority of glitters that I've tried, which I will admit isn't a lot because that's not something that I go out of my way to try, the ABH Norvina ones have been less offensive. And that is really, really pretty. I find that I have good luck with using a glitter glue. I actually have taken this one and kind of topped it over a really iridescent highlighter, and as that, whoo, if they were to take this whateverness and be like, we're releasing a bunch of beautiful multi-chrome highlighter toppers, I would say sign me up. I would like to have them all. But on the pressed glitter front, and as much as y'all know I absolutely despise pressed glitters, this is probably the best result that I could probably ask for. And last but not least, E3, which is another pressed glitter. It's kind of like more rosy and pinky and purpley. We have E4, which is absolutely beautiful. And then E5, which is also stunning. I have this glitter right here. Not as good, I would have to say, as this one right here, but still much nicer to work with than ColourPop or Huda Beauty or even the Tati ones, which I said were okay and pretty good. Just comparatively on the glitter front, although I do like this one better, like I said, I don't know if you can tell, but like the pink one is a little bit more, it's like those teeny tiny smaller glitter flecks, whereas this one here has like, they're larger, but they're like, it's almost like they're little teeny bits of pigment rather than they are glitter. Whereas this one right here is just straight up your traditional glitter all over the place. So here we have the color story going on here. A myriad of matte shimmers, glitter, different shimmer formulas, all matte whateverness. Yeah, I think it's pretty. But with swatches aside, let us get into actually talking about the palette. We have discussed sort of some of the pros and cons, but let's discuss it on a whole. Okay, so first thing, packaging and componentry. I really, really love this like soft, baby bridal sort of pink. I think it's a very good color that does sort of exude and kind of just all encompass the overall feel that the palette is trying to give. Very sturdy, very nice. I have traveled with all of mine, haven't had issues with any of them breaking or anything like that. Now I know a lot of people were kind of, I mean, I feel like when Anastasia anymore, they have something that's like going good for them, they tend to overdo it, and then the consumer is just like, we're kind of done. So they did the first pro palette and people were like, oh yeah, this is amazing. This is fantastic. Anastasia kicking up the game a little bit. And then they released the second and third one really quick after that. And then they released the mini ones and people are like, y'all need to cool your jets and calm down. We're getting a little oversaturated here. So understandably, there was a fair amount of, not kind of getting it, kind of not feeling it. But for me, who still hasn't been able to cut that umbilical cord with purchasing Anastasia palettes, and because if this is the same formula as the other ones, I was like, I love that shiz. I would like to have this. And I will say, aside from the two glitters here, this is a palette that I would really recommend for someone who doesn't have any of them. And also for someone who isn't a huge, intense, say, color lover. Because the first three are very heavily, we've got pinks and blues and purples and greens and oranges. They've got very punchy, very high contrast color theories, where this, it's got the purple and the pink, but it's much more muted, much more wearable, a lot less just crazy. I absolutely love the quality and the formulation of the mattes. You will see in that try on where I was like, this is so nice. This is so great. This is blending so beautifully. It looks like a vision on my papers. So I had an absolutely wonderful time with the matte. Same with this look here. I think every single matte except for, no, I have used all of the mattes, and all of them are pigmented enough where you're getting a lot of pigment, but it's not patchy, it's easy to blend. And one thing I also noticed about this, you will see in the trying out the first impressions video I did, that these I experienced like minimum to like no fallout. When I was doing that first impressions, I'm just picking that shiz up and packing it on like I normally do, and I'm like, nope, don't see nothing. The only shade that I really experienced any sort of fallout from is this E4 one, and fallout is traditionally more typical the darker you get, at least in my experience. And in all honesty, the shade that I experienced the most fallout from was actually these two, A1 and A2, which it's more like glittery, shimmery fallout than it is pigment falling on your cheeks. So in this entire palette, the only shades that I'm not completely sussed with are the glitters, though this one is actually kind of okay. I've tried it on my eyes, I've tried it on my face. This one is more akin to the Huda Beauty ones, or just a typical pressed glitter, so I'm not really vibing with that. And then the more faint pink here and the more faint purple there, it's just, I wish they had taken these two shades and made it in that formula up here, or even just a more typical formula rather than something that's a bit more hard pressed, a bit more faint, something that you're not gonna get as much cha-cha-cha-cha from, which I understand not everyone wants that. If this is supposed to be the companion, whatever, extension of Soft Glam, you may want something a little softer, a little more subtle, a little more delicate, rather than having laser beams coming off your lids. But other than that, I actually really love this palette, and I'm loving it a lot more than I thought I would. And I'm not entirely sure why. It could be because I'm on more of a neutral kick, and that this has a beautiful amount of curated neutrals. I adore the tones in here. I really like and appreciate how the more crazy colors incorporate very well tone-wise into those neutrals. So you can kind of do like I did today and go, you know, all crazy balls to the wall color. You can go like I did in my first impressions, where I did go more neutral, though it was a bit more punchy. Or you can take and you can mix and match and really make some pretty looks that incorporate color and the neutrality without going super crazy. Sort of, I like this in the same reasoning why I really love the Jeffree Star Blood Sugar, is that while you have those crazy colors, you're also given a beautiful selection of neutrals that are wonderfully formulated and that play really well with those punchy brights. In all honesty, I bought this because it's a Norvina Pro palette, because I was attracted to some of the colors, and I ended up just really liking it a lot more than I thought I would. Like, I've been reaching for this. I have used this one in the, this is gonna sound real crazy. In the time that I've had this in my hot little hands, I've actually used it more times than I have individually my 1, 2, or 3. Like, I haven't used my 1 as many times as this, maybe my 3. But I just keep reaching for this because I've been really enjoying the quality, really loving the color theory, and just liking the vibe that it gives me. And because the formula is so good, except for the glitters and that kind of faint thing. But if you like the faint thing, let me know. It could just be a me problem. Maybe I suck at makeup. But everything else about this palette is beautifully formulated. I love the cohesion and everything. It just really is this kind of nice neutral with a rosy edge. And for some reason, that's something that I'm really getting down with. Obviously, keep in mind that it does have those pressed glitters. I wish that companies would stop trying to make extreme Instagram and drag makeup a mainstream consumeristic product. Because it's not. I'm sorry. If you're giving me this palette, please don't try to shill to me these two glitters that I'm going to use for a dramatic cut crease that I'm not going to do. Stop putting pressed glitters in your palettes. You know I have issues with that from absolutely everybody. It's just, there's no point. I'm sorry. And then these two faint ones, which, you know, they're just a little bit faint. Would I be a little bit more whatever if they were just ka-cha, cha-cha, cha? Yes, I would. But overall, for me, that's not a deal breaker. I'm so glad that Anastasia has kept its quality through these. I mean, the mattes. The matte formula in these pro palettes, I would say they maybe even up their game on this one because they were just so smooth and blended beautifully. Near perfectly, like Viseart level blending on these bad boys. But the Pro Palette matte formula is one of my top 10, maybe top 5. But all in all, I was just so happy and so pleased with this. And like I said, just, I love it when I get a product that I'm expecting to like because, you know, why would I buy it if I don't think I'm gonna like it? And then to be utterly and completely just surprised and end up falling in love with it just in sort of like a natural, over time sort of thing. It made me really, really happy. And this is just a beautiful palette. So if you've been eyeing this and you're attracted to the color story and you can obviously keep in mind about glitters, I would absolutely recommend this. I think for someone who wants to get into, this is one of those, I love how I keep like touting it, being like, let me talk about how amazing it is. But this is one of those palettes that I would recommend to someone aside from the pressed glitter. That's just, I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. But this is something that I would recommend to someone who wants to get into color, but doesn't want to go Pro Palette 1, 2, or 3 because those are like right in your face color. Because this has such a beautiful curation of both the neutrals as well as the bright colors, and it works so well together. I think it's very user-friendly. I think it's more beginner color theorist friendly. And I really appreciate the thought and the curation that went into this palette compared to the sort of more disjointed look of the other ones, which I still love, but I think this one is just more, aside from the glitter, it's a lot more user-friendly and a lot more just accessible to a wider range of consumerism. All right. There we have that review. I've just absolutely fallen in love with this thing. Definitely let me know down below. If you have it, you agree with me, you think I'm crazy and it's the worst thing that ever existed. I mean, pressed glitters, yeah, I mean, just stop. Just, y'all need to stop with the pressed glitter. Let me know what you think of this review. Let me know what you think of the product down below. And let me know if you have any of the Norvina Pro palettes, what your favorite one is, even one of the little ones, because I think I probably reach for those little ones more than I do the big ones, just because they're so nice and curated and the formula on those little ones, perfect. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!